Go. Let's see. Hey, everybody, super excited. We are in the midst of the BioStacking Summit, and I've been looking forward to this segment for a long, long time. I feel like I know Jason intimately, even though this is the first time we've really gotten a chance to talk. Another cool part is thank you to technology. Jason Ross, he's in New Zealand, the beautiful, beautiful country of New Zealand, which I've had a chance to visit, but I bet, and maybe he'll share us a little bit what he was telling me about where he is and a distinction of where even in New Zealand. So not only are we coming from a beautiful place, but we're in one of the most beautiful parts of one of the most beautiful places. And what a better place to raise the kind of food that my whole family has been eating and loves. My daughter, I mean, what do you want tonight? Steak. I'm like, oh my God. Everything. Like, I have a ribeye addict, a Wagyu, First Light Wagyu ribeye addict. And so she's such a snob. She's 16. She is such a meat snob now. She doesn't want to order out. We'll be in a 5-star restaurant. She goes, Daddy, it's not First Light. So I got to tell you, I mean, the story, when I first ran into you guys and your amazing team that all live and breathe the message and the story and the humanity, so much mis and disinformation. There's such a cloud in this industry, and the bar has been lowered, yet you guys simplify and raise the bar. Can you give us a little bit of the story of what makes every bite so special?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yes, so it's 10:44 in the morning tomorrow for you guys. So we're a day ahead. And yeah, you mentioned, just touch on why we're called First Light. Well, we're called First Light because we're on the far eastern corner of New Zealand, and the international date line follows the coast. So if you're standing on the beach and you watch the sun come up, you'll be the first person to see every new day. So that's where First Light came from. We are a business in our 20th year. We turned 20 in July, and we've been pretty focused from the beginning around delivering a wonderful pastoral or grass-fed protein experience for our customers. We saw back in the day, 20 years ago, a bit of a resurgence of grass-fed protein. And bear in mind, what I always say is that most people who will be listening to this, grandparents grew up on grass-fed. So it's not like grass-fed is a foreign concept to Americans. It's just that there was a couple of decades in the wilderness there in the 50s when corn suddenly became cheap and available and as a filler. So what we wanted to achieve was we wanted to deliver a product, and it started off as a ribeye steak that would match a grain-fed steak in terms of its consistency and its tenderness and its deliciousness, but without the CAFO, so without the artificial feeds, without the antibiotics and all the rest of it. And we landed on marbling as the enabler for consistency and deliciousness. And it's very hard to get marbling into a grass-fed animal because they're mobile and they're eating a low protein or a low energy food. And the way you fix that is you stand them still in a feedlot and you feed them cornflakes, but we couldn't and wouldn't do that. So we went and found Wagyu, and we took Wagyu cattle against every Japanese person's sort of advice to the contrary, and we put them out on grass. And over a 5-year period, we learned how to grow Wagyu on grass. So we invented grass-fed Wagyu beef, not because we were in love with Wagyu per se, but because we were looking for an enabler for the most delicious grass-fed beef. That was, I guess, principle number one. Principle number two was, for us, that one bad day that the animal has is very real because we're there when it happens. So we're very focused on ensuring that if it's going to happen and we've all opted in on meat, that every single piece of that animal has been used for its best possible purpose. And I guess this is, again, similar to the grass-fed history. This is not a new thing. It's not like when there was a lucky day that we managed to, in your part of the world, bring down a bison that you threw the organ meat and the hides away, and somehow we've found ourselves in a situation where that's what, for all intents and purposes, is happening. So we don't do that. We look to harvest that animal with care, and then we look to harvest all the nutritional value that we can get out of that animal. And this is where, if you've seen or tried, or some of your customers perhaps have tried, the encapsulated liver, the liver capsules, which are for vitamin B12 and zinc and iron, CoQ10, and all the rest of it, all the way through to we have partnerships with leather manufacturers to make boots that last for 20 years. So when you have made that decision, you automatically opt out of volume. So we're not producing lots and lots of animals. We're producing lots and lots of products from very few animals. So that is also, I won't go into it, but that also has an environmental benefit, because you can have less animals on your farm, which means you have better environmental outcomes. And if you're the farmer, it means that you can generate the same amount of income from fewer animals, which is, it's a self-perpetuating, better environmental outcomes, better economic outcomes, and better, certainly better for the animal. So that's a long-winded way of.
No, it's phenomenal. I mean, and I think everybody can feel you when you talk about the grace that goes with the process, that was once long forgotten, and once was here, at least in the country that we're in, that people have removed themselves from, unless you grow up in and around it and you're raising it yourself, and you don't know what it's like. And I've talked to different people and looked at a lot of your information, and it is everything is just the next level up. Even the nutrients. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that. We have 3 of them that we use so far in our clinic that people love. The micronutrients that they get from the organ complex that you guys make. Also the beef liver, which you mentioned, and also the type 2 cartilage, the collagen. It's again, it's not only are you using it all, but we now are able to upgrade what we've been using, knowing that these things are raised in a certain way. They're vaccine free, which is super important to us in our clinic with our patients. They are treated in a certain way. And the difference with patients, because we use a lot of nutrition in our office compared to even the ones we were using before, which we thought were really good, and they were good, but now we have great. So maybe you speak a little bit about how and why you guys did that, and we're glad you did.
Yeah, look, I didn't know what you know, which is about the synthetic versus whole food nutrition. And when I did learn that the majority of the supplements that we're buying are synthetic, I was mortified, because my family was doing it, and other families I know were doing it. And how we didn't know, and particularly in our position, as a very focused on meat, how we didn't know that was a bit of a horrifying moment. So as soon as we've worked that out, we went looking at what we've got. So we did took us about 12 months, cost us a lot of money. We did a nutritional analysis on every organ and component part of the animal that we've got. And I wouldn't say we were mining for minerals, but we were certainly mining for micronutrients. And then we learned, okay, well, liver is super high in B12. And for some people that's very important, but for others, they need the B12, but they might need some of these other micronutrients that are available in the kidney or in the heart or in some of these. So effectively, when people say, "Oh, it's a liver capsule," I say, "Well, yes, it is a liver capsule. It's actually a B10 capsule that is bioavailable." And no disrespect to the people in labs making things out of chemicals, but if you've opted into grass-fed meat, you've probably opted in to a lifestyle of, the lifestyle that you obviously, promote and have made your living off. So yes, we have got a long list of products that we will bring out over time. And if your guests can help us with the prioritization of what they need, what they might be deficient in, then we'll bring them to market based on what our customers are saying.
Well, everyone watching this, and when this airs in post, when they watch it, feel free to comment with what you'd like to see from First Light Farms. So it will help with the market research in any way we can. So unbelievable, Jason. Best Forbes magazine, best beef in the world, not in New Zealand, not in the United States, the world. I'm looking at 4 times at least from what I've seen, World Steak Challenge champions. Uh, a lot of stuff to brag about. I know you're not a bragger. You seem super humble to me in the
Yeah.
short time we've known each other, but I gotta ask you to brag a little. Tell us what others are saying.
Well, yes, we've won the best steak, which is great. We've entered it every year. That it's not just us, by the way. You know, there are a lot of gold medals that go around at the steak awards. We've won one every year we've entered, which is wonderful. I think what's interesting to note is that if you've got lots of money, then you can enter 10 steaks, but we don't. So we only enter one. So we roll. You know, we roll the dice and put everything on red in our situation. Probably the greatest validation we've ever had was from a lady named Katie Chang. She came to New Zealand. She's a writer for Forbes, and she landed very cynical, and she was a bit prickly because she's been there, done this on all of these, you know, purported great brands, and not necessarily meat, but just, you know, generally. And her job is to get the facts. So she was looking around corners, and, you know, she was looking for the illegitimacy of the story. And when she left, I was hopeful but not expectant that she would say some nice things. And she left, and she never said it to us in face to face. But when she wrote it, you know, it was a glowing endorsement, and that was amazing, because it wasn't someone who'd already drunk the Kool-Aid who came to New Zealand to you know, we'd written a check to fly her to New Zealand and all the rest of it. No, she came looking for something to sort of, you know, not that wasn't quite so positive, and she just wrote this amazing article, and that really, for our steak club, which is a select number, a very finite number of high net worth people around America who opt in to buy our very, very best beef delivered every month, it just exploded. You know, we went from, I think we had like 150 or 200 members, and exploded, and suddenly we had, like, we woke up the following morning, there was 500 requests the following day. It was amazing. So yeah, I certainly, you're right. We don't talk about ourselves a lot because we really prefer someone else talked about us. But we do now fully understand the value of when someone does talk about you. It's a great thing.
Especially authentically, which is so hard to find these days, because when people can hire an influencer, pay somebody to say something, and it's hard for anybody to know. But it's so great now to hear that story of how that statement came to be, which is awesome. Now, I know some people are going to be asking, I don't know if it's appropriate right now, about this steak club. I didn't know about the steak club. I mean, how many zeros and commas do you need to be at, every year to be part of the steak club?
No, it's not a big. It's not a big expense. I'm probably a little bit removed from exactly what the dollar is, but I think it's $150 a month.
Okay.
I don't know how many of our state club members are doctors, but a massive proportion of them are doctors, and they're all over the country. That's we're at retail. You know, you can go into a grocery store on the West Coast and buy our products, which, you know, you obviously, you and your daughter do. But if you happen to be in Florida, and a lot of our customers are in Florida, or Texas or New York or wherever you may be, then that's an easy way of getting it. So we siphon off the absolute best of the best of the best meat. We don't deliver the same thing every month. It's because we've got a whole animal that we're dealing with, but we take all the great cuts and we give you send them to you on rotation.
I'm in. So let me ask you something else. So we've been talking about the amazing Wagyu beef, yet elk is something that we're using every day in our house from First Light as well. Again,
Yeah.
it's been great. I'm looking at Nobleman magazine, speaking of accolades, says meet your new favorite meat, elk. So talk to us about your elk, because not a lot of people, normally you're not eating elk unless your friend's a hunter and they got some and they saved you some. But yours is not just, again, there and available, but it's amazing, and the quality is next level.
Yeah, you'll see a common theme is that we are sort of wedded in what has worked for humanity for the longest time. Well, if you said that elk was the original fast food for anyone in the continental North America, then there is a very good reason it is so good for you. The reason that we are involved in it and on the other side of the world is because Teddy Roosevelt gifted New Zealand elk in 1905. How they got 17 elk on a boat to survive the journey back then, I'm not sure. But Teddy Roosevelt did lots of amazing things. So this is just another one. And they got to New Zealand. There was no predators. It was like, the perfect place to send an animal like that. And they thrived in New Zealand. So you'll see on the back of our packaging, we are very careful and very clear to say that this is not North American elk. It's the same animal, but it was raised in New Zealand. And, I guess we're just returning the favor. Teddy gave them to us back in 1905 and we're just returning the favor. But it's a beautiful product. It really is. It's, and you're right. It's not very many people can get access to elk. It's expensive. It's mostly for the very affluent people who can go and hunt one every now and again, or if you're lucky enough that you happen to be, extremely good and you get a ticket, you can go to Colorado and shoot one. But for us, they don't go very well in small ranches, so they're very extensive properties. Otherwise, the animals don't thrive. And we process them and we send them to North America, and they get sold on the Steak Club and in some grocery stores. And it's a beautiful product.
Well, I could hear clicking around of computer keys around the globe right now of people going on First Light to order them some elk. So the mission is one of the things that got me in the beginning, meeting your team and seeing people generally excited about the brand and what they were bringing to the world, and the smile on people's faces. It's, normally you see it with the ice cream man in the United States delivering the ice cream to the child, but we called it adult candy when we were all not moving on to any other booth but yours. So could you I'm going to give you the last words here. Tell us the mission. Tell us what lies ahead for First Light, and what we can help support you with in the future, because I like to think that my family's consumption, we always run out no matter what. So I have to constantly, even if I pre-order it, I always run out. So
the seed I would love to sow, I'll tell you the story. The trade show that you met us at, we put up a stand, and we put on the stand the ribeye steaks. We had someone cooking ribeye steaks, and then we had someone talking about the supplements, which comes from the organ meat, and then we had the dog food, which comes from the bones and some of the organ meat. And people came up and asked, I don't understand why the dog food and the ribeye steaks are on the same stand. And we explained to them that it's all from the same animal. It's a whole animal program, all the things I've just talked to you about. And they all just went, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. I love it. But it didn't, what their first reaction wasn't, I get it, because we've sort of forgotten, So I think if I could ask one thing from this interview, was that people just started thinking again about the whole animal. Our focus and our job is to give that animal an amazing life without any inputs that are not natural. And then so to create the amazing raw material, and then to listen to our customers say, we would love to take the organs and make them into liver capsules, or we would love to take the bones and make them into stock or dog food or whatever it might be. It's a bit more cerebral, it's a utilization optimization job as opposed to just a volume growth, and we're just going to create animals so we can eat their ribeyes. So yeah, I'd ask that the whole animal, people just started thinking about and helping us to tell the story, because once we get it in people's minds, other companies will do it, and that will actually be net good for everybody.
It's beautiful. Well, Jason, we love your product. We will continue to use your product, share your product. I know everyone on the summit is excited about sharing it, using it as well. And we look forward to everything in the future. Thank you for your commitment and your hard work. It's a labor of love sometimes, but when you're doing the right thing, you don't work a day in your life. So we appreciate you. We look forward to many future endeavors together. And we will always be looking for whatever's next and whatever you guys are doing. So guys, you'll be able to order. I do believe, thank you. There is a 15% discount, summit discount with the code Cohn, COHN 15. So thank you for that. So everyone, please take advantage of that. Also, I think, and so I've been following you guys on Instagram. You got some really cool stuff. It's great to hear the stories from everybody. You have great recipes on how to make and use the meats and properly, and information about the nutrition. And as we continue to use it in our clinic, we hope to add to that for you. And so we will definitely be sharing that, as well as many of the doctors and physicians on this summit as they use it more and more. So thank you again, and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, well, thank you. And look, your audience can teach us, an immense amount. And so we really want to hear from people, because particularly people like your audience, because then we can act, and we will react quickly. So if you've got things you think we could be doing better, or things that, should be added to the portfolio, let us know.
Well, I will, definitely. I will tell you this, so while we're talking, when I go to a restaurant, my favorite thing is bone marrow. So anything we ever do that actually could commercialize that would be fantastic. Bone broth is a great thing that we use a lot to help people who are healing their gut, healing from really horrific health challenges where they need to fast, and but they need the nutrients. Bone broth is phenomenal. There's a lot of people in the game, but no one to the level of quality that First Light has. So I think that might be something to explore in the future. From a nutritional standpoint, I tell patients all the time that in most of Asia, in the villages, if your heart's not working right, they feed you heart. If your liver's not working right, they feed you liver. If your kidneys are not working, they feed you the kidneys. So, following that vein, we have used different nutritional companies in the past that do different things, which I'm happy to share with you, that basically every single piece of anatomy has been turned into a supplement, either the whole food part, or some aspect of it concentrated, or even molecularly protomorphogens and other things that people do to create an action by using that medicinally in a micro dose, like you would a homeopathic. So I think as we go and grow, I think one of the biggest things that people are going to see, they'll find something they like and they'll go, ooh, I would love to see First Light do that. So we will like to continue.
You become our R&D department at that point, so that's a good thing.
Well, anything you ever need to bounce off us, let me know. I'm happy to lend an ear. I've been doing this for quite some time, and rising tides lift all ships, and this is a village and a community. And one of the things I wanted to do the most, besides showcase some next level doctors that are really making a difference in people's health, was to share brands that I know are making a difference in people's lives. First Light is one of those. It's just something that we look forward to all the time, and people need things to look forward to, Jason. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
We got